Now, a biopic following Amy Winehouse's rise to fame, marriage to Blake Fielder Civil and struggle with addiction is released in cinemas today.
Friends of the late singer have slammed it for being too sympathetic to Blake, but he says it's a fair portrayal of what happened. We're going to speak to him in just a moment about his thoughts of the film. But first, here's a look at a little clip from the movie. Well, Blake is with us now. Good to see you this morning.
Hi.
There's been so much talk about this movie. There are so many strong feelings about Amy from fans, strong feelings about you too, from the family and from fans. You saw it yourself.
Yes, I did, yeah.
First of all, what did you make of it?
First of all, it's a surreal experience watching a film about somebody. You recognise that person, but it's not that person. You know, same for Jack, who played me as well.
Yes.
It was a surreal watch. But when I'm watching the film, I have to watch it firstly from my point of view as somebody who I was married to. So I'm looking at it as somebody that I wasn't just friends with Amy. We were married. You know, we were together. We were deeply in love. Going from that to the addiction, so there was some real difficult parts to process, but the upside of that is that it was almost therapeutic in a way. There were some parts of it that enabled me to feel like I was seeing a more accurate representation of the relationship, not in a sense of being let off the hook or whitewashed, as you kind of alluded to, the comments that people have made, just in a sense of it wasn't all about addiction. And you know, as much as that might have been the salacious headlines and the paparazzi's goal, there was addiction, but it was only an aspect that the relationship started, like every relationship does.
So Sam Taylor-Johnson, the director, has said that because there have been criticisms that you've been turned in, I think one of the quotes is, into a Disney prince, and many people for a long time have kind of blamed you for drawing her into her addictions that ultimately took her, fairly or unfairly. But she said that it was very important to show how the two of you fell in love, what attracted Amy to you in the first place, what the chemistry was. Did you see that in the movie? I
did, yeah, I did. I think the problem is that the story that had been perpetuated, or the narrative, I should say, was something that I learned quite quickly. Sam and Jack, and I didn't speak to Marissa, but they weren't interested in repeating that. Jack, when he came to meet me, said... So
you met the actor that played you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Jack O'Connell.
Yeah, he came to meet me. He's really good guy. He came to meet me, not asking for any notes or anything like that, just out of a respect thing, really, just to be polite. But they made it clear they weren't interested in rehashing that story. And I think what Sam said was kind of a nice quote, that really, if Amy wrote this album, which everyone loves so much about this person, and Amy is known for being intelligent and not suffering fools and you know, a strong person in many senses, there must be a little bit more to this relationship than just an addled user, or whatever I was portrayed as, or somebody that was leading Amy sinisterly into addiction, which wasn't the case.
When you look back at your time with Amy, I suppose with anybody, when you lose a loved one, and regardless of what your relationship or the circumstances were, do you feel any level of any kind of responsibility in, you know, you think, well, actually, you know, I could have done more? We all think that sometimes. I lost my mother. We all think we could. Is there anything else we could have done?
I think that's
in
human
your
nature.
position, do you sometimes go to bed at night thinking, OK, I wish I probably hadn't done that, or I wish I had?
Of course, many times, and I've said that. I don't, you know, speak about it often, but yeah, I do. I felt, to be honest, I've done pretty much nothing but kind of try and take responsibility on my own way for quite a long time. It's been a cross to bear, and it's impacted on many things on my life throughout the years. I have death threats online, social media still. Amy inspires a lot of fierce, you know, fandom and devotion. So that idea, yeah, I do feel...
What kind of things do you think...
I don't feel blame.
Is there anything you would change? Anything you look back and go, OK, I wish I'd done that a bit more or a bit less? Or...
There are certain aspects in the film, yeah, when I'm watching it and I think, you know, and it'd be the same for anyone. I'm sure you look and you think, I wish I would have known
Well, one of
this.
those must have been introducing her to heroin. I mean, that's got to be a big regret. A regret that you were using it yourself at the time, and a regret that you introduced it to her.
Yeah, I sense that the idea of heroin, obviously, it's a horrible, terrible drug. I've been clean for years myself, but I was in addiction as well. It's not as black and white as that. I was a very, very young person. I thought I had all the answers, but yeah, of course, not to be trite about it, of course, I regret any drugs.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I would have known how it was going to develop, I would have been far more careful about the things that I was doing, the people I was doing it with. I had no one looking out for me either.
No,
you know?
no. And on that, you know, her family, particularly her father, have been very critical of you, haven't they?
Yeah.
Do you think they will change when seeing the movie? Do you think that this offers an insight which might lead to some kind of, I don't know, conversation between you? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts prior to seeing the film were that was something that perhaps didn't need to be said. However, after seeing the film, one of the things that struck me was Amy's person. Marissa did a really good job, in my opinion, of playing Amy.
In what? Because there have been...
The mannerisms,
the mannerisms,
the singing.
Did you make you
me,
feel like you were looking at Amy's mannerisms in a way?
Obviously, I know it's not Amy, you know, it's a film, you have to suspend some. But there were certain mannerisms with the way she moved her hands, the way she fluttered her eyes, the movement of her feet, etc. There were lots of things that brought Amy to my mind, yeah. I think that Mitch, seeing the film, would also see parts of the film that he... maybe aspects he thinks, oh, I shouldn't have done this. You know, his regrets, like I have mine, not as profound as mine, I shouldn't wonder. But I think that one thing that comes from the film is Amy was a peacemaker. And I think that watching the film yesterday, I thought she'd probably want me and Mitch to maybe have some sort of, we don't need to be best friends, but I wouldn't mind having, you know,
What would you want to say
Conversation.
to Mitch and Amy's family now that, you know, they may well be watching, they may well watch this interview? What would you say to them to try and reach out to them?
I think that they must have seen the film as well. I hope that they, as hard as it may be, you know, Mitch is a father, I'm a father, I understand his position on me. I understand it, I really do. But I hope that he would see that there was genuinely love there. And I loved Amy, you know, very, very much, and she loved me too. And if there was anything that could bring her back, I would, obviously.
Do it.
Would you like to meet with Mitch and sit down with him?
I feel so more so since I've seen the film, as I've said. It's a bit like a therapy session, I guess. That might be a bit self-serving of me to... But I feel like for Amy's sake, I feel like she was always saying, you two should speak, when she was alive, when we'd already separated. Obviously, my ex-father-in-law, we didn't speak, so, you know, it's something that's kind of gone many, many years now.
You feel, in a way, it would be a gift and something that she would want.
That's right, yeah, yeah.
Well, my goodness me, we could talk to you, because I'm sure there's so much to talk to you about. Just briefly, are you OK now?
I am, yeah, yes.
You are? You're feeling life's good?
I'm in a much better place than the person I recognised in the film, but it took me a while, but yeah, I am.
Blake, we really appreciate you coming on. And, you know, in the end, this is a personal relationship between you and Amy. Only you know, what went on there. And I think it's great that you're willing to come on and have this conversation, and that's really important.
And I'm sure you still miss her.
I do, yeah.
Not everyone's going to agree with you, but still, it's your right to come on and say here, and we say what you want, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Blake.
Thank you.
Thank you.